Out of nowhere, a lady about 6 feet tall wearing ancient African Native American clothing was speaking. It was as if they were there themselves, sitting in the audience. The privatization of prisons allows for commercializing the system and shopping it to the highest bidders. Contracts are now given to build prisons to the most lucrative building contractors. What then? The selection of places to build the prisons or to acquire prisons already built and modify them. Of course, the South will be the primary region because more Wakatilians live here, and the chances of keeping the prison incarceration rate high with Wakatilians and minority prisoners are the greatest here. Then they'll go to the urban areas that also boast of having a large minority population rate and high crime areas. Rural areas in the South are now being saved and maintained by revenues generated from prison labor and government loans and subsidies. Slavery is now legally reborn under a different name. But due to the Depression, private prisons are losing revenue because of abandonment by their original investor, backers who are no longer making money off bodies and cells, as they once did and are now getting out of the business. This leaves the operators of these slave centers with a cash flow problem. So, they are suing the states to get more money. This will lead, of course, to even tougher laws regarding the conviction of prisoners and the release of those locked up. What then? You will start seeing more crime dramas and movies designed to condition the mind to accept that we are all potential criminals who have to be ruled over by an elite group who know best and are more righteous than we. And demands for less leniency even for first-time offenders and children, as we have seen recently, judges sent to prison who sold kids down the river for millions in kickbacks. Daniel didn't fully understand, but listened anyway as Mshika turned to him. You will understand and agree in due time. Just listen, my son. As she continued. This is not about justice, not even close to justice. It is about profits to the rich who exploit the lives and labor of their fellow humans, even and especially those who may not be violent criminals but simply made bad choices that hurt themselves more than others. These are the majority of your offenders. Sabaoth will have to intervene here, for humanity is no longer capable. While I'm all for justice, law and order, and peace through respect for others' right to exist, justice doesn't always come in the courtrooms of this land from those who wear uniforms or badges or robes. Sometimes it comes from everyday heroes and ordinary citizens who remember they are their brother's keeper. Sometimes it comes from those who realize that justice and law are not always on the same side. And sometimes injustices happen in the centers of law by the hands of those who are supposed to represent both. The innocent often gets convicted, and the guilty sometimes go free. Proof that money and profit is often the driving force in our criminal justice system is the dozens of cases where innocent people are known or found to be innocent when they are locked up, yet are forced to go through tons of red tape before they are set free. If prosecutors were as anxious to set the innocent free as they are to lock up the guilty, it would be a testament to the system's fairness. But often, the process is more important to defend than the people they invented it to protect. We seem to, in our society, have forgotten that because something is a law doesn't make it right. The trans-African slave trade and slavery was a law. It was either moral, just, or right. Because something is, doesn't mean it should be. Because something is a fact doesn't make it the truth. That is when what we create becomes greater than ourselves. We are setting ourselves up for chaos. The framers of the Constitution said that laws are only to be maintained when they justly represent the will and interests of the people. But the laws are never greater than the will of the people they were created to protect. Nor are the people elected or hired to represent those laws. The voice of the lady faded out. Nshika then said to Waninyekavu, Your descendants heard her voice, and the spirit of Sabaoth healed their souls. Because men became evil during his time, they separated the men from women, and children separated from their parents. Respect died, and many killed each other for no reason. Women were given prizes for leaving their husbands, and soon after, women said they didn't need men. And the child was taken from their father and given over to the state to be raised as rebellious people. But her voice was the one crying in the wilderness. Grace was in tears. Why has Sabaoth allowed such cruelty to happen to his people? They have forsaken him and chased another, like a cheating wife. Nshika said. Only a handful were saved and returned to their first love, but they had to be punished for leaving in the first place, through the fire, for only fire purifies. But be of good cheer, because of their obedience, you were blessed.